a pornified culture created an explosion of sexual abuse in America and how it could be destroying our children's future. That's tonight's angle. The only thing that seems to knock the Russia story off the headlines these days are reports of rampant sexual abuse in Hollywood. Whether it's Miramax founder Harvey Weinstein facing multiple claims of rape, Oscar-winning actor Kevin Spacey accused of pedophilia, or even Hollywood legend Dustin Hoffman confronting sexual harassment allegations, it's clear that something is deeply wrong in Hollywood. But of course, it's not just the media and entertainment industry. Today we learned that the scandal has moved to the world of high finance. 3 women, including 2 Playboy playmates, filed a $27 million lawsuit against George Soros' former fund manager, Howie Rubin. The women allege he brutally raped them in a Manhattan sex dungeon, just when you thought things couldn't go lower. But it's important to remember that none of it is happening in a vacuum. Hollywood and the media have been ratcheting up sex and violence on screen and in print for decades. Every year, a new envelope is pushed. So we shouldn't have been surprised by these scandals. We should have expected them. It's hard to pick out exactly when all of this started, but a good place to look is the founding all those years ago in 1953 of Playboy magazine. The publication's founder, Hugh Hefner, essentially mainstreamed porn with his glossy pinups, sometimes celebrity, sometimes not. But I know everyone just bought the magazine, for the interviews and the go of it all essays? Here's how Hef himself defined his own legacy.
What do you want your legacy to be? You want to be Hugh Hefner, businessman, civil rights activist, philanthropist?
Somebody who played some positive part in the changing social sexual values of my time. And I think I'm pretty secure in that.
But you don't think that Playboy at all made women objects rather than equals?
I think that women, in the best sense, and not in a negative sense, are objects of desire.
Well, at least he's honest. Social, sexual values of our time. Well, the robed Pied Piper of porn whistled a tune of objectification, and the whole world followed. But how did Hollywood react when he passed away in September? Of course, utter adulation. Kim Kardashian tweeted on September 28th, R.I.P. to legendary Hugh Hefner. I'm so honored to have been a part of the Playboy team. Jenny McCarthy, 1993 Playmate of the Year, lauded Hef
Fucking bastards on
for
the
being
internet.
a revolutionary in changing so many people's lives. I'll say. Bear in mind, this was just a week before the Harvey Weinstein scandal was blown open by the New York Times. Hollywood treated this dirty old man like a newly minted saint. The sexual abuse scandals are partly a case of life imitating art, and I use that term art loosely. Hef normalized the objectification of women, and Hollywood upped the ante. Look at Kevin Spacey. In the movie American Beauty, he played a suburban father who has sexual fantasies about his daughter's underage friend. Hollywood was so enamored with his performance that they gave Spacey an Oscar for that role. What was the impact of those images, I wonder? And might they have contributed maybe a little bit to the abuse of underage minors? Or at least made people kind of numb to it? And Hollywood tripped over itself, spending millions of dollars to adapt the so-called mommy porn 50 Shades of Grey series. For those that don't know, those books and films revolve around a young woman who begins a sadomasochistic relationship with a young billionaire. On the far side of abuse and degradation, she finds true love. Just what we want for our girls. Yet even NBC's Today Show held a contest so excited mothers and their daughters could attend an early screening of the film. The pornification of the culture and the sexual deviancy it's created is not confined to the remote worlds of entertainment, finance, and the media, of course. This is killing intimacy, it's killing relationships, and there are now reports on the rise of sex bots, sex robots, and virtual reality porn. people just won't do real relationships anymore. This is numbing them to what a real relationship is. And my deep concern in all of this is for the children who stumble across a website on their iPad or an image and are quickly transported to a very dark place that could very well destroy their own emotional futures. And that's the angle. Joining us now with reaction from Boston, Dr. Gail Dynas, founder and president of The Culture Reframed and author of Pornland, How Porn Has Hijacked Our Sexuality, along with Dr. Karen Ruskin, a marriage and family therapist. It's great to see both of you this Friday night. This explosion of sexual harassment allegations leading the way to more revelations of more depravity, that story about the sex dungeon and it's a fund manager for George Soros. It's getting more violent. It's getting more depraved, if possible. It's getting more depraved.
Oh, it's going to get a lot worse, too. Wait till you hear some of the shit these people have been doing.
You can't even describe this on television. It's so filthy. Tell us about, Dr. Ruskin, we'll start with you, the effect on children that we know of now, with how early they're seeing these sexual images and what it's doing to their own sense of emotional development.
For young children, my biggest concern is what I'm seeing in front of me is that they are believing that unhealthy relationships are healthy. We're actually transforming what is deemed a loving, healthy relationship between two people and with a family. What used to be considered deviant is now considered acceptable. There's no longer black and white. Everything is gray. Everything is acceptable. And if I want something when I want it, then I get to have it. And that is what children are learning. And that is danger written all over.
That is what is wrong with America.
When there is no longer right from wrong.
It's time to wake up, America.
Well, what we know from studies is that the average age of a kid, first a boy looking at pornography, is 12. Now, this is not accidental. What's happened is that thanks to the free porn business model, which was developed by a group called MindGeek, which is based in Luxembourg, when that made pornography affordable, it made it anonymous, and it made it accessible. The 3 A's that drive demand. And that really took off around 2009. Now, who's going to go to a free porn site? Those who haven't got any money, those who haven't got credit cards, children. So I would really argue that the business model of pornography was to get in the boys around 12 to 14 whose brains are actually hardwired for novelty and risk-taking. Because if it's like me giving out cigarettes outside of middle school at 12 years old and going back each day and each day. And what's astounding to...
So kids, excuse me, so just so we understand this, so especially young boys are for the first time seeing the image of a female body. And in some of these cases, the type of images they're seeing are so violent in their depiction or so extreme that this is what they become used to or that they want. Well, and then that puts pressure, Dr. Lufkin, on the girls to perform in the same way.
I think
one at a time, Dr. Lufkin.
And I'm actually seeing this is not just for boys. This is boys and girls. And
yes.
It's even younger in my practice. I'm seeing as a therapist. It's much younger than 12. And this is being depicted not just with TV shows. This is in music. This is in magazines. This is in, even if you look online, there's pictures of animals. That's animated art that look like humans. And there's very inappropriate behavior that those animals that look like human are doing. And young children are seeing that as young as 5, 6, 7, 8, and they are moving their bodies to what they are seeing. Both boys.
Pay attention to the shows your kids are watching, parents.
And Dr. Dynas, what does this
Pay
do
attention
ultimately?
to the dolls you're buying your girls, parents.
As a woman, you think about this. To a young person's understanding
Pay attention to the video games you let your kids play, parents.
And love and respect. Does it enhance it from what we've seen from 1953 all the way to today?
No, well, we have to think about pornography today, which is not your father's Playboy. As bad as that was, I mean, really, it's a bit ironic, but I kind of look back with nostalgia at that, because what we have now as mainstream porn is so hardcore that in our father's generation, you had to go to a porn store, know somebody who could get you access to that level of hardcore. That is now mainstream. And that's what I think a lot of people don't understand. They think that maybe boys are looking
Well, Hollywood helped make it mainstream. My point is that Hollywood, media, advertising agencies, the entire media apparatus, books, 50 Shades of Grey, this all helped numb people to this. This mainstream the whole thing.
There's a reason they had done this, people. They want your fucking children. They want to fuck your children.
An explosion in STDs, or girls are
right.
Dressing like
they want us to accept pedophilia as normal.
It's a continuum. It's a continuum. Dr. Ruskin, last word.
You are so right. The pornification of America has creepy crawling into our home, our marriages, our families, and we're not even consciously realizing it.
Now, we're realizing it.
Couples need to be more, some
and
people
parents
are, some are not.
Ladies, parents have to be the first line of defense for their kids.
Well, stand up for your parents, or stand up for your children, parents.
We're going to have both of you. Yeah, we're going to have both of you.
They only have you to rely on. Nobody else. The government don't give a fuck.
Solutions, real solutions.
Everybody else in Hollywood and probably
so
some of the government people
President
just want to have
Trump
sex with them.
12-day trip to Asia.
Wake up, America.